So anyway, that's what everybody's getting up on right now. They're all stoked.
Cool.
Arc Raiders. Arc. It's Arc Raiders. Raiding the candy store. All right, let's make it happen. Hello and welcome to the How to Hobby podcast. I'm your host, John Power, and this is episode 173 of our podcast here, the How to Hobby Boys, wishing you a happy, happy, happy new year. Coming to you from the How to Hobby Lounge, the best place to be on a Friday. And I'm joined behind the mahogany desk here in this January of 2026 by my fearless co host, the menace himself, Shawnee B. How we doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Today is kind of a longer day. Uh,
Oh,
I had to tell you a big thing that's been going on lately. We got a new couch. Like not just new couch, but like a big new
un-
couch.
a new thing that's been going on. I'm like, what could this be? A big new couch.
Big new couch. Yes,
This
big
is,
new couch that we got set up today. Had a little bit of a mishap. Had
uh-oh.
to kind of go to Bob. We got it from Bob's discount, and we had a little bit of a mishap where they didn't actually give us all the pieces correctly. So we have a
What?
half put together couch. And the
Bob.
rest, I know, Bob, the rest should be coming, I think, the end of this week. But we have probably 85% of the couch is there. There's just one part of the sectional. It's a four-piece sectional, and one piece didn't come with the back, and it didn't come with the pillows. So it's kind of like half there. But when we talk to the customer support team, they don't do pieces. Like they're not just going to send you like just this back piece or just the pillows. So what they have to do is they're sending a crew out. They're going to pick up what we already have put together, and then they're going to bring a new exact full everything with the sectional, the pillows, the back, everything, and they're going to build it for us. Or I'm hoping they will. I put that in my request to customer support. They'll come out and build it.
Because you're not doing that again.
Because I'm not doing that. It has been a long day
Is
to
this
get that
is this
built.
like IKEA quality or better or worse?
No,
That's kind of the
it's
bar.
better. It's
Okay.
it's it's like a Living Spaces, Jerome's, more furniture quality. It's really good quality. It was very expensive, but it's a
Oh.
really nice couch. Yeah, and it's a big four-piece sectional with a chaise lounge, a sleeper, like under seat storage. It's really really nice. But that was the big thing going on in the house today. And then another big thing, I got to tell you, I did something pretty fun this last weekend. I rented a motorcycle. And not just a motorcycle, the one that I want to get. It was
Ooh,
actually
smart
the
man.
I
Smart
know
man.
because I was thinking, right? We're all talking about trying to make sure we are smart with our finances. We buy things that are actually going to be good for us. And I noticed that the motorcycle I want is about ten to $11,000 brand new. I kind of want to make sure I like it before I ride it. So I reached out to some dealerships and was like, "Hey, I want to schedule a test ride." Nope, they don't do that. It just doesn't happen. So I found out that you could rent them private through like just people who put their motorcycles up on RiderShare, which is the service or website I used. And I was able to go rent it so renting fee with insurance with a tank of gas for 24 hours was $160
That is
with
not
two
bad at all.
200-mile range. So I went and picked it up down in Pacific Beach and then rode up the coast through like Del Dio, Southwood Forest, did some freeway, and it was really, really cool. And I really, really enjoyed it. There were definitely some things that I would need to get used to. The riding posture is a little different. It's a little bit harder on the hips, so I would need to adjust it a little bit. But you know, for the fact that it's a really good motorcycle for a pretty good price compared to, some of the other more expensive brands. I'm pretty happy with it. So I
So
have a feeling,
yeah, when you let me excuse my ignorance.
no, go for
You
it.
went up to one of your favorite places, I think, right? The Elfin Forest. You talk
Yep.
fondly of it, the riding up in that area. So that was a
Yep.
great move. But when you say the riding position is different, what do you mean? Is it a posture thing? Is it more leaned over? Is it more sporty? Or is it more what? Yeah,
It's
give me a
a
little bit more there.
it's a good question. It's a posture thing. So the motorcycle I have now, so you have like the most hunched over knees to your chest kind of riding posture is the crotch rockets or the more sport bikes. Then you have what I have right now, which is very sitting upright posture. So very straight back. Your legs are kind of angled, like your hips are angled down. So between your torso and your waist is maybe like 110 degrees. So you're kind of angled down. And then the cruiser, which like an actual cruiser, more like a Harley, is really laid back. So you're actually kind of leaning back in the seat. Your legs are kind of out in front of you. This was a sport cruiser. So it's a Honda Rebel 1100. So it's more of a sporty cruiser because it's kind of in between the cruiser and the sport kind of crotch rocket-esque riding style. So you still kind of have that laid back posture, but your legs are up really high because they want it sporty so you can still take corners pretty quick. And so you have a lot of ground clearance. So it's a little tough for me because I have longer legs, and so it's putting some pressure on my hips that I'm not used to. I found some kits that move the pegs forward to try and get a little bit more comfort and more clearance, but it would be an additional thing I'd have to build and put on. So just something I will need to get used to. Not a end of the world con, just a good
Yeah.
thing. I'm glad that I did this because if I had bought it and then ridden it, I would have really been really frustrated. Like, oh, this thing isn't comfortable. I can't figure this out. But because I rented it now, going into it, I know what I'm getting into. So it was really good. I'm glad I spent the 160 bucks and got 24 hours out of it.
Nice. No, that sounds very good. I'm glad you're starting off the new year with a bang, really just going in for one of the key things I think we're always looking to do, right? Which is center ourselves around big goals.
Hmm.
And so we always pick a focus, listeners. And this is going to be a big one for us. In Q1, we're actually going to be talking about a fresh start. So our big focus for Q1 will be starting afresh. And this episode is going to be all about framing your best year yet. Sean, before we really get into it, I am
Hmm.
curious, have you been keeping up with the NFL with this most recent
I really haven't.
just building
I've kind of
couches
been,
and riding
yeah,
bikes?
building gadget riding bikes. I've been a little too busy the last really month or two. I haven't really kept up to touch, but I want to hear what's going on.
Well, no, I mean I'm out. So the only thing I'll say is fantasy did not go well for your boy. I think I got sixth overall or seventh. It
Okay.
wasn't a good result for me. But it has been interesting to see, the wild card games. Chargers are also out, so there you go. I mean, it was kind of like a bummer weekend
Hmm.
for San Diego sports, even though Chargers left us. But yeah, they couldn't do it, man. They got beat, and that was really hard to see because it was the Patriots, and so
Hmm.
Drake May, he's obviously a rookie quarterback. No, I think this is his sophomore season, and Herbert has been in the league forever. It feels like forever at this point, and he just can't crack it. The
Yeah.
commentators were even saying they're like, this guy will go down if he does not breach the playoffs. He will go down as the best quarterback to never reach the playoffs. I'm like, that's not a great overall.
No, that's a
Uh,
tough one to be known for.
yeah, not what you want to be known for.
Mm-mm.
So I'm sure it's been a tough season for him. He had to get surgery on his right arm or right hand, and it was like an emergency thing too. I don't know if you
Mm.
heard about that,
Mm-mm.
but when
No.
he got injured on a Sunday and then went into surgery on a Monday and played that next week. So it was like,
Wow.
yeah, it was one of those, and just didn't couldn't make it, man. It's a bummer. I really would love to see them win. I think with Harbaugh, he's definitely turning the page, turning the
Hmm.
corner with the team because they had 11 wins this year, but just couldn't make it happen when it really mattered. And the Patriots are kind of a sleeper team right now. I feel like they might go for a long run. We'll see. So yeah, stay engaged there. They're one to watch. If you see them coming up on the games, that's kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, with that, Sean, you're not really looking at NFL. I'm not anymore because the Chargers are out, and I have no fantasy buy-in anymore. So no, with Super Bowl coming up, we'll be prepping the listenership because we have
Yeah.
our great traditions to go through. But with that, let's kind of move into framing your best year yet. We also want to invite listeners from around the world into the How to Hobby Lounge today. Come on in to the best place in town to be on a Friday. We got the plushest seats in town here in the lounge. We got them freshly upholstered AZ Upholstery came in and just dominated the scene here. Man, they are good and ready for some more sitting and listening, digesting of amazing content here at the podcast. Please give us a like and or follow us wherever you're listening to the show. That we'd appreciate it to no end. We do have some Instagram content out there at How to Hobby Podcast, and you can Gmail us directly, and that's howtohobbypodcast at gmail.com. And we'd appreciate any questions throughout the show. So feel free to go on there live. But Sean, let's now dive into something that'll be kind of fun. We're going to debunk the New Year's resolution and kind of talk through some of the history of it. So take it away.
Yeah, so this is a new segment we're going to try and bring in 2026. So we're going to try and bring some more history and education into some of the stuff we're talking about. So for those listeners out there, go ahead and close your eyes, kick your feet up, and just spend the next 5 to 7 minutes listening to the sounds of my voice educate you. So we're going to go through New Year's resolutions. Very popular, probably everyone's heard of them, but I bet not a lot of people know where the actual origin of them is. So first off, a New Year's resolution is a goal or a promise that people make at the start of a calendar year to improve their lives, habits, or circumstances. It's kind of tied to the idea of a fresh start. It's a new year. Now, what I didn't know, and I'm curious, John, if you knew this, did you know that New Year's resolutions actually go back over 4,000 years of written record of doing some sort of New Year resolution? So the
I did not know that.
I didn't either, and that was crazy in research. Ancient Babylonians actually basically did something similar. It wasn't called a resolution, but it was something as we're going to returning borrowed items or paying debts. It's like earning good fortune for the year. The ancient Romans used to do it. It was really popular in medieval Europe. So knights apparently renewed their vows of chivalry and moral conduct at the start of the year. But in modern era, at least America focused, this is going to be very America focused here. But by around the 18th and 19th century, so 17 and 1800s, the New Year's resolutions actually became associated more with personal self-improvement and especially in Western cultures. So it was actually first, I think, coined in the US in around 18, I think it's like 1813 through in Boston through a newspaper that actually coined the term New Year's resolution here in the United States. So how popular are they? About 40 to 50% of Americans say they make at least one resolution per year. It's more likely to happen in younger adults versus older adults. And the unfortunate part is many people kind of just skip resolutions altogether. This is actually kind of the camp I'm in a little bit. I'm not a huge big resolution fan, but they tend to skip them altogether due to past failures or unexpected, unrealistic expectations. I looked up what are some of the most common New Year's resolutions. I think they're the ones we all have probably heard of: exercise and physical fitness, weight loss and healthier eating, improving finances and saving money, mental health and stress reduction, and then personal growth. So things like learning new skills, better time management. Now, what I know is that resolutions generally are not super successful. And I think that's why most people don't do them or kind of lose that motivation. So I was wanting to know, how successful are they? And actually, only about 8 to 10% of people say they actually successfully kept their resolutions long term, and most are abandoned within the first month by pretty much February. And I've actually have a little bit of hands-on experience with this. My brother's girlfriend is a general manager for Planet Fitness, and she said that for them during the busiest time of year is the month of January and the first 2 weeks of February. That's when everyone's like they got the resolutions, they're going to the gym, they're trying to get fit, and then by February basically half the gym empties out and no one's coming anymore. So they actually see it on the ground of what happens with these New Year's resolutions. And the most common reasons for failure include the goals are just too vague or unrealistic. There's a lack of a clear plan or timeline. There's no accountability or support system, and they're trying to change too much at once. We've talked about this a bunch in past episodes. This is super common amongst resolutions, amongst hobbies, amongst a lot of trying to do new things in life. So, what we've talked about, and I think some other good ways to increase your chances of success, is to be specific. So, do things like instead of saying get healthier, say walk 30 minutes 5 days a week. Be very specific about it. Set small, achievable goals. You want to break the big goals into manageable steps. You want to track progress. There's a bunch of apps or journals or checklists that you can do to stay motivated. I also recommend checking in with family or friends so they can kind of help hold you accountable. Reminder, you're trying to build habits. You're not just trying to meet a goal. You're not trying to just check a box here. You're trying to get better habits and build them into your life. So focus on consistent routines. Use accountability. That's where I mentioned the share goals with family and friends, and then be flexible. You have to understand that you need to be able to adjust goals throughout the year. They're not just going to be, you can't sometimes just set one thing and say, I'm going to stick with that for the rest of the year. Sometimes you got to adjust when life comes at you a little bit too fast. So I think that's kind of my resolution takeaway. So they've been going for about 4,000 years. A lot of people use this new year as a time to self-reflect, look on their past year, and try and do things a little bit better. I think that they're very popular, and that success really depends on motivation and focusing more on the keys, planning, building effective habits, holding yourself accountable and family and friends accountable, and then setting realistic expectations that are actually manageable and you can see change. You want to find ways to see change because when you say, I just want to lose 40 pounds, when you see the scale move 2 pounds, that's still an accomplishment. But because it feels so far away to your end goal, it's really easy to lose motivation. So that's kind of like our little recap on New Year's resolutions. I kind of want to get your take on if there's anything interesting I said for you, John. But yeah, that's kind of my take and part of why I'm not a huge fan of them because I think that I try and have consistent habits and goals, not necessarily just starting all at the beginning of the new year, but I'm kind of curious your take real quick.
Oh, no, great. I think a little bit of history is always a good way to start the show here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this segment continues to grow in 2026. Again, this is going to be all about how do we start 2026 strong. So it's not going to be really pulling from the New Year's resolution methodology that Sean is debunking here. We're going to kind of be pushing forward in ways that we think we've seen success doing this. But yeah, Sean, that was great and very educational. And I hope listeners, you now know a bit more about how the Babylonians and Romans were spending their time and thinking. No, it is interesting. And this is my probably my biggest takeaway just off the cuff. You see right there that as we grew in affluence, only when you got to a certain level of wealth did you actually start thinking in this way. And
Yep.
that's what I
Yeah.
think is a kind of an interesting takeaway. Before that, you're just surviving, right? You're
Mhm.
just on the land getting what you need to do, getting it done. And there is no real chance to choose. But look at how far we've come. And again, we're going to be talking through some of this here as we set up our mindsets. And we're going to start with mindsets, move into habits, and finish with hobbies. But when we talk about mindsets, man, it's very clear that we have choices here, listeners, and that is power. So don't forget that here in these Western countries we live, most of us. You may not be. You may be tuning in from a non-Western country, and welcome. And you can probably school us and educate us in a better way to really set up a life. But we have choices that are not given to everybody. And I think that's one that I always kind of go back on and try to recenter myself at the start of a year. I've really been picking joy myself as like a little bonus, and it's been fun. Really, just trying to think, smile more, laugh more, have fun more, and don't be such a grouch. And when you say that to yourself as an ongoing exercise, starting from day to evening, it helps a lot because when you go and get frustrated, it's hard to stay frustrated when you're thinking, okay, but smile more.
Yep.
Okay, you're right. So, with that, we're going to dive into mindsets. And again, these mindsets can be applied both personally in your personal life, at work, and hobbies. So, they're really synonymous with all the things we like to cover here. And that will continue in 2026 on your favorite podcast. But we're going to start with picking positivity here. So, Sean, I'd like to ask you, what's one of the ways in 2026 that you're really going to prioritize picking positivity? And if you wouldn't mind sharing with me and the listeners, I'm all ears.
Yeah, I think a big way for me is focusing on the little moments the most, on those times in between when it feels like things are getting a little chaotic, things are going a little bit too much, but focusing on those times where you got to sit on the couch and eat a good dinner, where you got to go on a good walk, you got to open a new couch and put it together, like trying to pick the positive moments, but the small ones, the little small wins, not just focusing on the big overarching thing, but like the little small day-to-day wins to remind yourself every day why, like what you really have in life and all the positive things happening.
No, that's great because I think we do get so caught up in, okay, when's the next big vacation? That was one of the ones I kept hearing as we were coming back to work, right? When you take
Hmm.
2 weeks off, which is great. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. 2 weeks off to just kick up your feet and not really do much thinking about work at all is awesome. But man, does that hurt when you come back. When you peel that Band-Aid off,
It does. It's
I,
real hard.
I, there was just so much, oh, where's my next break? And I think there it really does allude to something when you're able to just take the small moments. I like what you said there, small moments, like finding those moments over the weekend to recenter, recharge, pick positivity. But again, even in the week, like you said, a meal. Hey, I got home. I'm going to make myself a nice meal. I'm going to take the extra 5 minutes to do it. Have you ever had that moment, Sean, where you get into the thick of it and you kind of just shirk the full responsibility of making a good meal? And then
Yes.
by the time it's all over, I actually call this the fast food effect because fast food is great for that first 10 minutes. Like when you're indulging with it, it's like the best thing ever. I mean, there
Hmm.
really is not any there's not a negative I could even assume to the equation. It's amazing. And then after that 10 minutes, maybe it's 15, you kind of have that slow decline into like, all right, what's next?
Uh,
Oh, and it's like power down.
hmm.
And the older I get, the worse it gets, unfortunately. Like when when I was younger, it was no problem at all, but now it's like, man, all right. That was that was one, it's over so fast. And then two, man, I don't feel that great right now.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me, but yeah, pick positivity. I think that's a great one. And, another big mindset we're going to focus on this year is picking contentment. Now, we did spend a lot of time and have in the past thinking about ways we can continue to be content, but it's going to stay a mainstay here because without contentment, you won't find the positivity in the moments because you're not even content in the first place, right? You're just,
Exactly. You're not even paying attention to it. You're too much in that survive and uh was it survive mode, not thrive. Like you're
yep.
just kind of surviving. You're going day to day. You're not focusing on the contentment, the good things that are happening. It's hard to get out of that mode sometimes, but it is important to try.
Yeah. And I mean, contentment, it is back to those little things. Just waking up and saying, all right, this is good. I'm
Hmm.
up. I'm able to be up. That's great. I can walk around. I've been trying to just say those little things to myself throughout the
Yep.
day as it's like restarting, right? The motor, that first week, it did feel like you're kind of like cranking the engine back on and for better or for worse. And I think, there was a lot of sickness this holiday season too. I don't know if my energy just was not personally super high.
Yeah.
And
Feel that.
it just was taking me a bit more to really focus one and get the job done. But then when you're not feeling that high in energy, it's kind of like, oh man, what's what's going on? So yeah, I mean, picking contentment huge, and I think starting that in the morning as early as you can,
Hmm.
just taking stock and saying, okay, let's uh let's be content. I mean, is there anything that you're specifically modeling around this idea of picking contentment, or like a certain
I'm
time of day?
I've my for me, it's been mainly in my drives into work in the morning. So it's actually something I don't remember if I talked about it on the podcast. I don't know if I told you. Over this holiday break, I actually received my first speeding ticket. So I had a lovely conversation with the CHP officer. And so right now I'm in that kind of hyper mode, like hyper aware mode, where I'm basically just doing the speed limit everywhere because I'm really paranoid now and I don't want to get a second ticket because I know it's going to jack my record up. So I'm just doing cruise control at whatever the speed limit is, going pretty much anywhere I drive now. And so it's giving me a lot more time to be able to just relax a little bit on the drive in, which has kind of been really nice, where I'm not feeling like I'm in a rush. It's like I get there when I get there because I can't go any faster, right? So it's like setting that limit for myself versus before I was just always like, how do I get around this car and get in faster and go there? I go, oh, gotta get off this exit. Now it's like, I get there when I get there. I'm not going to go any faster than 65. So it's been kind of cool and been giving me more time in the mornings to kind of have that contentment and think about it for what's going on in life and reflecting, listening to some good music and just trying to focus on that positivity. But for me, it's been my drives into work lately.
Hmm. Oh, that's great, Sean. Yeah, I really think finding that moment to just take stock and relax a little bit. I,
Hmm.
I think, that is my morning ride for me, or my riding in general has just been this sense forever of okay, just now calm it down. Calm
Yeah.
it down before you move on to the next thing. And I think there is something to that slower pace. Not that I'm ever going slow on the bike. I'm not going to say that. I'm always going as fast as I physically can. But this actually kind of moves into pick patience. Because I've had some lower energy stores, I've had to be patient with myself. The winter is this interesting time where, as much as you may want to do, and we've talked about the seasonal flow. The winter is one of those times in our lives where we really do need to listen to our bodies more than
Hmm.
I think any other season, because it takes a lot more commitment to really get the job done and
Yep.
do the goals and achieve the goals that you want to. I mean, for instance, if I'm waking up, it's pitch black and it's dark and or sorry, pitch black and it's cold. So it's cold and dark
Hmm.
and it's very hard to get up and get moving. Just
Yeah,
compared to
absolutely.
summer, right? It's not as easy. And I've had to kind of work through some of that. And you have to get your system back in place. If I'm commuting, and I'm sure there's plenty of people going, John, what do you mean you just get in your car? I'm actually commuting to work, listeners. So I don't stop. I'm not one of those people that actually stops during the year for a certain season. Maybe I should, but I just can't do it because I love it too much. And I just think the benefit outweighs the negative for me, even when I
Hmm.
am feeling depleted
Yeah.
or battling uh, sickness or fatigue. There's just so much I learn about myself and my own personal limits. And I think you hear a lot. You kind of have to wade through the noise today, Sean. I've been finding more and more, that as you open up the ears and listen to various forums regarding how you should be doing something, man, people will just tell you how it's like you got to do it this way, and if you don't, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that's the thing that bothers me is if you don't do it in this way, you're doing it wrong. And I think patience and picking patience with your body is kind of a huge one when it comes to achieving your goals you're setting for framing your best year and starting strong in 2026. I mean, this
Hmm.
is going to be a big part of it. And if you really want to achieve things like you were saying, Sean, earlier regarding the weight potential goal, seeing only a 2 pound decrease when you're really looking for 20 and then calling it quits, you weren't patient.
No.
That was not picking patience in that exercise. And same goes for any goal you may be setting in 2026. For me, it's I still want to keep riding
Hmm.
and I want to be competitive on the bike as I go and do some more races for 2026, but I've also got to be patient in I don't think I shared this, Sean. I came back from that last race I did and I realized that I was having some knee pain.
You did briefly mention this. Yep.
And so I had to reevaluate, and I'll kind of talk through what I'm going to do kind of moving forward and what I have been doing regarding this. But that was kind of a wake up call, right?
Hmm.
Like oh, I guess maybe even because you get into this false sense of almost immortality, or there's a better word for it, like unbreakable nature or something. Nothing can really phase me. But then you have an injury and you go, ooh, okay, so maybe I'm not as strong as I thought. And that doubt, I've had to kind of work through that, honestly. One, taking a step back in terms of how fast I'm going or how hard I'm pushing,
Hmm.
and then, being patient with the way I'm recovering from that. So that's one way right off the bat where I've been picking patience and committing to it, but still staying on the bike. And it's been an interesting thing for me to kind of work through, especially in this cold, dark season of winter.
Yeah, definitely. That was another thing that I forgot to mention during the resolutions when I was looking for reasons that people don't stick to them is because you generally start them in this winter time where the days are darker, it's colder, it's harder to keep them, especially because a lot of us our resolutions are more of that activity based, which is hard to keep up in winter. So I'm glad you mentioned that because that is a good one. And it is important to pick patience because you're trying to do a lot of new things, right? Like we're talking about starting fresh this year. You're going to be going to new habits, some new hobbies, some new stuff. have the patience with yourself, but also have patience with others. People are going to be, maybe not in the same bandwagon you are coming out of the holidays. They are like, oh, trying to give you candy at work. They're trying to give you all this stuff. You just got to be patient. It'll be okay. And I
Take
think
this
that's where
candy.
the next and last mindset before we move on is working on picking determination. So really building these goals and being determined to stick with them for the year. Have it in your mind why you're doing this. I think that a big thing a lot of people forget is they just say I want to do this thing, but they don't really make it clear even to themselves why they want that. Is it because you want to feel better? Is it because you want to look better? Is it because you want to make more money? Is it because this or that? Have that why for yourself, and then that'll help build the determination for the year to maintain it, right? We're not looking for like completely rewrite your entire life. We're looking for these small things that we can stay determined and try and make things a little bit better day by day.
That's a great way to end it, Sean. I think it really does round out the entire mindset section here, whether we're talking about personal growth, work, and or hobby growth. It's the small things. It is not going to be the monumental, I moved a huge boulder moment.
Hmm.
This is all very minute changes. And I know if we were to look at our trajectory from past year, it's all very minute. You're just trying to stay on the trend line. That's it. We've talked about this in past years. It's not riding the ups and downs. It is trying to stay right there in the center, not
Yep.
really going with the highs and not really going too low with the lows. Right there in the center, and you will see some major changes that are positive in the positive direction in your life. So now we're going to move into habits. And I will say, so this is kind of coming out of picking patience for myself. Post ride recovery. That's going to be my big habit that I'm changing up in 2026 because I realize that one, time under tension, even though I'm quote unquote in my peak, I
Hmm.
still spend most of my day behind a computer screen, which
Yep.
is good. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not going to get hurt as likely as somebody who's, posting rebar or something. But at the end of the day, if I go out there and then hit a heavy effort at 4 hours and I'm just that entire time grinding, which is what I did during the Tour de Tucson, it's going to take a toll, right? There's
Yep.
definitely some, your body is not used to, as much as you did do training, and I do because I ride to work. It's still not 4 hours worth every single day. Not even every week. I average, I think, sub 10 hours a week. So it's just not getting, yeah, it's a different world entirely. So what I'm doing in my post ride recovery, and I have been, is I have a foam roller and I've been actively rolling every single day. I've added it into my stretch routine. So I always have been stretching for at least 5 minutes before bed. It's one of my habits I've developed and have been sticking to for now 5 years, if not more. Where before I hit the bed, I always stretch, no matter what. And now I have to add this new thing in where before I really do anything else, and I'm shirking today because I haven't done it yet, but I will after this show. Rolling out on the foam roller, it hurts. It
Hmm.
really does. But it's going to be, I've already seen better. My knee is feeling less tinges of pain. And that was
Good.
kind of the scary thing too. Like as you're riding, you can't really pinpoint like what is causing it. Is it the
Yeah.
upstroke? Is it the downstroke? Like what is really wrong? And I kind of had a moment in the thick of it where I was like, I've probably torn something or everybody's tearing something. I probably torn. I was just
Uh,
spinning. And I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I just need to, she's like, just focus on the rolling. You'll be okay.
hmm.
But yeah, it's so easy to spin. And I totally felt that, Sean. I was just, man, maybe I really, really hurt. Maybe this is it. And you're right, you get in those moments and your mind just starts going. And then I just had to say, oh, no, just calm it down, pull back a little bit, which is the hardest thing. I think
Yes.
when you're really trying to maintain, the hardest thing is to actually pull back because you're
Hmm.
worried that you'll lose performance,
Yeah.
which I think is the biggest myth. Other than, you debunking New Year's resolutions, the second to that is if you pull back for recovery, you won't maintain performance later.
Hmm.
And we gotta debunk that one. That's one that I need to tell myself. No, John, you can take a day off. I lifted way stronger today because I actually took yesterday off and I felt it. Now it was just, there's little things you have to understand about yourself. And yeah, doing it all sometimes just doesn't work. I heard some
Yeah.
great advice this last year that was say you sleep in past your alarm, don't get upset. Just know that you actually needed it.
Yeah.
Like you needed that sleep. Don't always, and I am guilty of this, where it's like every day it's 5 a.m. I have to be up. I have to get up and get going. Just to have some days where it's okay. Recover.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. It'll all be okay. Your body clearly needed it. Your mind needed it, whatever it is. I saw something that was really cool. It was if you've ever had a hard time falling asleep and you're kind of that really, it's easy to get really frustrated, right? Like, oh my God, I'm so tired, but I can't fall asleep. I'm going to be so tired when I wake up in the morning. I'm only going to get like 2 hours of sleep. And you get into that spiral, at least I do, again, a spiral. And then that really kind of spikes your adrenaline and cortisol, which then makes it harder to sleep. So it's kind of like this negative feedback loop. And I saw something was there's interesting studies showing that even just laying in bed with your eyes closed can help you feel better the next day and acts as like a half rest. So your mind's still
Mm,
able to kind of rest. You're not fully sleeping, but you're still getting some like restoration out of it. And that kind of took a little bit of that stress away, right? So like I can just relax and yeah, maybe I can't really fall into a deep sleep, but I'm still getting something out of this. I'm still getting something. So I think that's something that's kind of helped me. But
yeah,
sometimes you do have to take a rest day or be okay that you slept through your alarm.
for sure. So Sean, give me your big habit change this year that you're shooting for.
Yeah, I think the biggest one's going to come to food, and we're working really hard not to do the really aggressive transition. So I've tried pretty much like every fad diet throughout my whole life. My mom was really big in fad diets, so like we've done Weight Watchers and the South Beach diet. Like we did a bunch of these diets, but none of them were super sustainable. What Ali and I are trying to do now is just kind of trying to bring in more whole foods in and focus less on the refined carbs. So what we're gonna do in February is do kind of like a 30-day or 28-day, however long we do it, carnivore cleanse. So it's really focusing on just really cutting out carbs, but focusing on bringing more meats and eggs and butters and oils and stuff into our diet as kind of like a little cleanse to try and help reset the hormone paths and stuff. Then, as we go into the rest of the year, just focusing more on the whole foods, focusing less on the super refined rices and starches and potatoes and everything, but bringing in more like whole stuff, more veg. Just trying to eat a little bit better, but not going so overboard that we're kind of screwing ourselves, right? Where it's making it impossible to maintain. We can't keep the goal. It's not healthy. It's not sustainable. So we're trying to come at it a little bit better. And I think the coolest part is a lot of my life I've kind of skipped doing homemade breakfast and then always had to get something out because I was too hungry to make it to lunch. And now, even for the last week and a half, what we've been doing is getting up every morning and before I go to work, we're making basically steak and eggs. It's like 8 ounces of steak and a couple of eggs. And that, I'm not kidding you, that can last me 6.5, 7 hours until lunch starts. Because if I have to be at work early, we're eating breakfast at 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm getting all the way through to 12, 12:30, and I'm like, oh, I should probably go to lunch. Whereas before, when say I didn't eat before I went to work, I went to the cafeteria at work and I got a little burrito or I got a bagel with cream cheese. By 10:30, I'm looking at my watch going, how much longer until lunch can finally come? So even just the little things, I've been able to see really cool trends of feeling fuller longer and feeling better, feeling more energy.
Mm,
And the nights where I'm getting less sleep, still waking up and not feeling like I'm going to die the next day. Like I know that even 2 weeks ago, I would be exhausted if I got this amount of sleep. But now I'm like, oh, I'm okay. Like I've got enough energy. It's really cool to see. So that's a big one. Just
yeah.
bringing more meat into the diet, less carbs, not going overboard. We're calling it like 85% carnivore is what I've seen some people say, where it's mostly meat, but you're still bringing in some other stuff in there as well. So we're
Can't forget the
slow.
veggies.
Can't forget
Gotta
the
get
veggies.
those
We're
veggies.
we're slowly working on it.
No, that's great, Sean. I wish you luck on it. And yeah, I mean it's huge. I do feel like you've probably seen the trend. The other big fad that's coming, I would call it a fad right now, is the heavy protein. Like
Hmm.
everything is laced with protein right now. It's protein
Yep.
chips, protein nuts. I'm like, protein nuts. I thought the nuts had protein. Protein whips. Now
Yep.
every Starbucks has brought it in. It was started by Dutch Bros. Dutch Bros was doing protein laced coffee,
Hmm.
and then it caught on, and now everybody has to have protein foam on their latte. And it's just an interesting time.
Hmm.
But no matter what, you talk to nutritionists at length, they're still like, even if you're supplementing protein, you need to have actual protein sources from whole foods.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it is not the same. It's not a just, oh, well, now I don't have to actually eat any whole foods. That's a nightmare, right? We are made to have
Yep.
whole food diets. So I think it's a very interesting one, and I'm with you on it. Allows you and enables you to do things you wouldn't normally do.
Hmm.
I think always find it very interesting. Like I don't do coffee some days, and usually those are from time to time. Those are days where I'll make like a bigger breakfast for myself to kind of
Hmm.
offset it, and it's amazing. It's like the energy you get from food, right? Just food. And I'm always like, yeah, no problem. You have that meal and you feel ready to go. Like you don't need the caffeine.
Hmm.
And I think it's just telling yourself and setting yourself up that, no, I'm okay. Being determined to commit to something, like, you got to do it. To make a habit happen, you got to be determined and
Yep.
just, you don't take no for an answer. Now, again, we're not expecting perfection. I think you already said that. But it's important to be determined to get the job done. Mine has been more no alcohol in 2026. So I was dabbling with this leading up to my El Tour to Tucson race. Took
Hmm.
2 months off. Um, and I'm continuing to kind of field this one. I have actually the last beer I had, Sean, was with you at our annual get together. So that was really nice. And I think that's kind of what's cool about it is I'm trying to make, and you've talked about this at length, coffee sort of become more of a treat for you.
Hmm.
I'm trying to make all things like that kind of more of a treat, where it's, no, I'm going to take months off from
Yeah.
alcohol and get the sleep benefit, get the training recovery benefit. I mean, it's kind of at odds with what I'm trying to do, if I'm being honest. Like I'm a cyclist, weightlifting guy who's working really hard. Why do I need alcohol? If you really ask this is what I was asking
Yeah.
myself, why do I need
Hmm.
alcohol to then go into that and somehow fit in when it doesn't really fit? It's like you're riding all day and then you come home and have a beer and then you
Yeah.
try and recover. That
It doesn't
it
make
isn't
sense.
it isn't the best combination. It isn't the best way to get the results.
Hmm.
And again, I'm not hating on beer or any alcohol. I'm just saying if you're really trying to be diligent on training, I just couldn't, especially training for a race where you're going to put money into it. That's the other thing that I
Hmm.
think flipped this on its head for me. It's like if I'm going to be paying to do this thing, extra money, not just casually, like I'm going to go ride 100 miles, but you're paying to do a race, a sanctioned event, commit to it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it is. And it's been really good. I mean, it just changes the focus. And it gives you the power back, right? You're saying, no, I'm not chained to anything. I'm just going to I'm going to be committed to what I'm trying to do and achieve right now.
Hmm.
So that's one I'm going to continue to do, and I'll probably do it in a few different steps, like some time on, some time off, definitely taking, but then being careful on the time, because then when you come back, you don't want to go, whoa, like big dive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think it is this kind of measured approach. And so I'm still working through the details of it, but when you're off, it's very good, right? It's a good thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, which kind of your final habit? That's mine. My two. So better post
Yeah.
ride recovery, and then with that, it's kind of connected. No
Yeah.
alcohol during these times when I'm really trying to get results.
Yeah, I think another big one for me is the classic getting finances more in order. I know that it was something that was big for me last year, and I felt like I did a pretty good job, but there's just some big expenses coming this year that I'm trying to get a little under control. You know, the getting things for the new apartment, looking at buying a new motorcycle, potentially buying a new vehicle this year, looking at trucks, of getting that, doing a lot more traveling. But then also, Allie and I are talking about trying to start a family next year, and then we need to start setting ourselves up financially for that to have a little bit more stability and have set up the future a little bit. So it's just kind of a big year for me trying to get the spending under control, get the saving set up a little bit more. I feel like I've done a pretty good job over the last 4 or 5 years. I just know I could always do better. There's always a little room for improvement, a little bit less going out, a little bit more eating in. Like we can definitely try and get a little bit better at that, a little bit better investing, just trying to set it up. So that's a big habit this year I'm trying to get in is just being better at kind of managing the finances.
Get better finances every day. That's gonna be the 2026 mantra.
Yeah.
It's
Tell me
it's
about
a
it.
yeah, we all could use it. We have too much. We're very blessed here, and that's for sure. So finding the little things to be content with. I mean, I'm with you on this one, Sean. I think I find myself, especially during the holidays, I can fall into that. It's just there's so much happening, and then everybody's telling you need this, you need that, you need this, you need that,
Hmm.
and it really distracts you from actually what are the things that maybe I have on my want list, or again, you find yourself potentially looking at things. It's like you already have plenty of those, that one thing. And yet you're still looking and searching for like, ooh, maybe this is. And again, it's like, what it's for me, I'm going, am I just wasting time? Like it's sort of a time wasting thing because I could just look at what I have and go, that's enough.
Hmm.
And so often we don't look at what we have and say, that's enough.
Yep.
It's it is so applicable in 2026. It never gets old. And I love that that's kind of how you preface it. The age old getting the finances in order. It's kind of a let's stay content and let's get the finances in order. And man, we'll be well off in 2026 and
We
beyond.
will.
So all right, so we're going to finish off with hobbies. Great job, Sean. I'm really excited to have much more dog barking in the control room. Come on, knock it off there. Um, but I'm going to start with my hobby top go-to
Yeah.
right now. So it's cycling related, of course, and I call it Reclaiming BWR 2026. So I had, if you guys remember historically, I had my first BWR Belgian Waffle ride in 2025, and I can't believe it. It was like a bad dream, and I think I sort of put it out of my mind at this point, but I
Hmm.
completely messed up the start of the race. I mean, I missed my time. Like I missed
Yep.
my group. And that was one humbling. And every time I've done any of these cycling based things, I'm immediately humbled. But I did rally, Sean. I think the big thing for me coming out of that was I stayed determined. I finished, which was, I'm not going to lie, super hard. If I wasn't so financially driven and knew that I had paid to do this,
Yep.
I might have just called it right there. All right, dude, whatever. Like they left. It's it's over. And embarrassing. But I'm gonna reclaim it this year. And going into that, I kind of alluded to this coming out of Tour de Tucson. I need more altitude training in advance. That was the one
Hmm.
thing that really kicked my rear end last year. So I have plans to really add in more altitude training here in the weeks leading up to the race. The race is planned for end of February, so it's right around the corner, really. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, more altitude training and reclaim BWR. I want to smash the time I did have. I think it was like 7 hours. I want to
Hmm.
get down into the 6 hour mark at the minimum, if not crack into the fives, high fives. So got a lot to do there. We'll see if the knee can stay in order. I mean, again, pick patience, right? I don't know.
Yep, pick
Maybe
patience,
I'm
keep foam rolling, keep trying to get yourself set up, get that more altitude training. I know with how well you did in your last race, and I know that this time you're going to be obsessed over making sure you start with the right group and on
yes.
time. I think you're definitely going to do a pretty good job of bringing that time down considerably, definitely into the sixes, maybe into the fives. I can't wait to see how you do. and hear all about the race. I think a big thing for me this year is we've got a lot of travel scheduled. We're doing a trip out to Flagstaff next month. We're doing a couple of trips later this year. We're going out to Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire, kind of that area of the country in July. Trying to do like we're doing like 3 weeks or almost 3 weeks, like 17 days out in Vermont or New Hampshire and Maine, and trying to go over maybe look at some places we want to live one day. So we're kind of getting out there, and then pretty stoked. I actually paid for the campsite, but we are going camping this year. So we're gonna to
Love
be
it.
our first camping trip together, but we're going out to it's called a place called Hannah Flats. It's more of like a kind of primitive-ish campground just north of Big Bear Lake. So it's a really cool place. A friend of mine from
Nice.
work goes out there all the time. He's been trying to get me to go out for years, but now we're going to actually be going out. I booked the campsite right next to there. So we're going out in June to go there for a weekend and just go literally hang out. There's really nothing to do there. So it's just going to be a time of relaxation and sleeping in the tent and
Have,
cooking, and I'm really excited for it.
have I told you my wife's and my first camping experience where she
Uh-uh.
didn't grow up camping. So the first time we were there at the campsite and it was more primitive, the kids went down for nap because they were still napping in the tent, but we
Uh-huh.
forced them to go in there and get some quiet time. She looks at me and she goes, "So what do we do now?" I said,
Nothing.
"Absolutely nothing." I cracked a beer, took a swig, and then went and like fell asleep reading a book in the hammock.
Nice.
That's what it
That
was
is what
like.
gaming is supposed to be.
Yeah. And I think, she got it at that. She was like, okay, yeah, I guess I just hang out here.
Hmm.
But it is kind of weird, honestly, not having any other distraction. I think we get a little bit weirded out by it. But yeah, we're also doing some camping. Really looking forward to that. And are you also, so this flagship staff trip you'll have to tell me about so I can
Hmm.
keep it on the pulse. Maybe I can rendezvous with you up there or something. It's not too far from us, Sean.
No, it's not.
So I have to keep that one on the lock. Um, so yeah, my next one is going to be more personal video content in 2026. I kind of have this still under like I guess it's a underlining creativity goal for myself of try and curate content
Hmm.
that's video related. I have no idea why. It feels like it's still there, and I got to figure out what that is. And then second to that is kind of like the creativity niche. I should have called this just overall creativity in 2026, but I want to play more drums, play more
Nice.
drums actively in 2026. Um, and with that, the video content is also kind of a creativity thing.
Hmm.
Just more channels for creativity to continue to pursue it. I think, the podcast, we've had it up and running and it's a pursuit in creativity. And I think it helps us a lot. We talk about the benefit, we talk about how much we enjoy it. We hope you enjoy it as well. But at the end of the day, it's a creative pursuit. And these are very, very much hidden gold around you. Find ways to be creative in 2026. I think you'll find a lot of benefit from it. And that's all I have to say about my creativity in this coming year.
Yeah, I think my creativity that I'm looking for is more creativity of others because I'm looking to work on doing a little bit more tattooing this year, try and actually finish the sleeve that I started, get
Oh,
the back of
yeah.
the arm done, start working on the next arm. I want to get more motorcycle time this year, try and get the KLR fixed and running again and ride to work more often, pick up a second bike. And then a big one is, I don't know how much I've talked about it on the podcast. I can't remember, but I did pick up a second job as a resident manager for a apartment complex in La Mesa. So that's where we're living now. But, it's been very interesting and tough some days, easier other days. But doing it on top of my normal 9 to 5 engineering, but also being a 10 hours a week resident manager of managing two different properties and doing work orders and dealing with upset tenants and trying to get everything done has been a very interesting journey, but I want to focus more on that this year, get better at it, make the apartment feel more like home and just trying to lean into having a 2 bedroom now and being able to enjoy the space and having a garage to work on everything, but really professionally trying to get better at being a resident manager and be a better RM for this property than they've had before. So it's a lot going into this year, trying to just get a little bit better at what I'm doing.
Nice. Well, good luck, Sean. Yeah, you got a lot on your plate. You always do. You are a man of many pursuits, and it says a lot about you to continue all the things you do. So thanks for staying on it. And with the show here behind the mahogany desk, just wouldn't be the same without you. And on that, we're actually really looking forward to doing a new segment here in 2026. We're calling it On Location. So Sean and I have this idea that we're going to pick two locations this year that'll be unveiled over time to do an on location live podcast. So it'll be kind of an interesting new way to freshen it up between one, break up the norm behind just the mahogany desk. We're gonna go on location and maybe potentially interview some people, go to some businesses, get a feel for what people are thinking and doing out there outside of these four walls, the How to Hobby Lounge. And I'm sure there's plenty of other amazing places. And it'd just be fun to spend some more quality time with Sean here outside in the real world, out of the control room. So we're really looking forward to that. And we think that you'll find some value there. If anything, it's just going to really develop this creative pursuit we're doing here behind the desk and adding a new dynamic. So we're both looking forward to that. And with that, Sean, I mean, I feel like we've done a great job here debunking New Year's resolutions. We've kind of gone through our mindsets for personal work and hobbies, and then talked through habits and hobbies in 2026 that we're really pushing forward. So anything you want to say in closing here, anything you learned this week that you want to share with the listeners, feel
I think
free.
I think closing out, I wish the best of luck to all of our listeners and to you, John, and in all the new pursuits we're going to go into this year. I'm really excited. It feels like it's already been a great year, and we're only a couple of weeks in. I'm really looking forward to it. I turned 31 in a couple of weeks, so it's going to be a good year. So, it's just 2026 is feeling strong. And I think in anything I learned this last week, I think just reminder of enjoying those little moments. Doing the couch today was a little interesting, but kind of, having to work through the disappointment of not being able to really enjoy the couch to its full extent because we didn't get everything delivered. Just trying to still enjoy the positive moments, cook a good meal, try and just be grateful for what you have. It's just a
Yeah.
big thing coming out of this last week.
I love that, Sean. Great way to end. And yeah, I'm definitely going to take that to heart myself. Just continue to enjoy the little things, the little moments, even if it's just a box of macaroni. And that's what we had for dinner tonight. But you know what? It still tasted good, man.
I bet it did.
Throw some veggies in there, a little bit of sausage, call it a day. Um, hey, good luck on everything you have going on as well. Thank you for wishing me luck. Listeners, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the show 173 here, coming to your inbox live Friday, best day of the week. 6 a.m. is the regular recurring podcast upload schedule. So our podcast episodes always come out 6 a.m. sharp. And we hope you mark your calendars for that to continue with us as we develop and dive into 2026. Again, this was framing your best year yet. If you want more from us, you know where to find us at the How
How
to
to
Hobby
Hobby
Podcast.
Podcast.